Think about the kindest person you know, the one who always shows up, who never says no, who puts everyone else first before they even think about themselves. Now answer this honestly. Has that person been hurt more than anyone else you know? Betrayed, used, taken for granted, over and over again? That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And today we're going to expose exactly why it happens, and what nobody ever tells kind people until it's too late. Here's something that sounds wrong but is completely backed by science. Kindness, real, genuine, unconditional kindness, is one of the most exploitable traits a human being can have. Not because kind people are weak. Research in behavioral psychology shows that highly kind people have elevated activity in the area of the brain responsible for empathy. They don't just see your pain, they feel it. And here's where it gets dangerous. Certain people, psychologists call them high-conflict personalities, are wired to detect exactly this, like a predator sensing stillness in prey. They don't choose kind people randomly, they choose them deliberately, because kind people offer something most people won't: unconditional patience and a heart that genuinely believes people can change. There are 4 specific reasons why kind people become targets. Reason 1. They don't set boundaries easily. Kind people feel guilty saying no, not because they're weak, but because they genuinely care about how their refusal affects others. And manipulative people know this. They push, they guilt trip, they test limits. And kind people, almost every time, bend before they break. Reason 2. They explain away bad behavior. When someone hurts a kind person, the kind person's first reaction isn't anger. It's understanding. Maybe they're going through something. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe they didn't mean it. This is called self-blame absorption, where the victim unconsciously takes responsibility for the abuser's actions. It's not stupidity, it's too much empathy. Reason 3. They stay too long. Kind people believe in people deeply. They hold on to who someone was or who they could become, even when all the evidence says leave. Psychologists call this the sunk cost fallacy of relationships, where the more you've invested emotionally, the harder it becomes to walk away, even when walking away is the only sane choice. Reason 4. They give without tracking. Most people give to receive. Kind people just give. No scoreboard, no expectations. Just open hands and an open heart. And to the wrong person, that openness isn't beautiful. It's an opportunity. Here's what the full pattern looks like when it plays out in real life. It starts with love bombing, excessive attention, overwhelming warmth, making the kind person feel finally seen, finally valued for who they are. Then comes the slow shift. Small criticisms disguised as jokes, canceled plans with vague excuses, emotional withdrawal used as punishment, and the kind person, instead of leaving, tries harder, gives more. Because in their mind, if they just give enough, the person they fell for will come back. But that person was never real. It was a mask worn just long enough to get what they came for. This pattern has a name. It's called the idealize, devalue, discard cycle, and it works almost exclusively on people with high empathy, because high empathy people are the only ones willing to stay through the devalue stage long enough to be discarded. But here's what I need you to understand. Being kind is not the problem. The problem is kindness without wisdom. A lion is strong, but a lion without awareness is still just prey to a trap. The most powerful thing a kind person can do is not become cold, not build walls, not stop trusting. It's learning to give their kindness like a gift, not like a reflex, because real kindness is a choice, not a compulsion. And when kind people finally learn that, something shifts. They stop being targets, and they start being untouchable. So let me ask you something. Are you kind because you choose to be? Or are you kind because you're afraid of what happens if you're not? That one question might be the most important thing you think about today, because there's a version of you that is just as warm, just as generous, just as loving, but completely impossible to exploit. That version doesn't give less. They just give smarter. If this video made something click inside you, or reminded you of someone you know, share it with them. Hit subscribe for more psychology that actually explains your life.